Right, so in our previous video, we actually said if you take all the degrees on a cube, add them up to get the total, it will give you, with 99% accuracy, it will give you the diameter of the moon. In fact, not even 99% accuracy, it's 99.96%, which is pretty crazy. I mean, what a coincidence, or not a coincidence, or, who knows, is there any underlying natural reason as to why this might be? Now, if you've been following the videos that I've been posting, or at least I haven't posted them yet, but in the future, future date, I would have posted this after other videos. So you would know that basically we're going over all these weird things involving maths and how maths is actually a very interesting thing. It's absolutely crazy. For example, take the circumference of the Earth, divide it by just one of the sides of the Great Pyramid, multiply it by 10. Hey, you got the radius of the moon. Why? If you want to find out maybe some reasons why, I'm doing a webinar every Saturday. I'll give you some more information on that. I can give you my guesses or hunches. But yeah, pretty awesome stuff. But I actually want to also speak about a number called 108 that appears in mythologies and legends all over the planet. Now, what is 108? Well, 108 is kind of roughly, it's mostly the radius of the moon, right? You'll see why I mention that 108. So the radius of the moon is 1079, right? Which is pretty similar to 108. So let's just go back a little bit and let's just go to that whole cube story, right? I want to show you something quite cool, right? How many degrees are there in the circle? 360 degrees, right? We measure a circle in degrees. Degrees, as we know, measure the curvature. This is 0 degrees. You go up 45, and then we have 90 degrees, and we have 180, right? So a circle has 360. Now, in mythology, there's a lot of legends and stories in mythology. You can kind of get a clue as to what they are talking about by the numbers. If the numbers add up to 9, they are talking about the seasons, progression of time, or anything related to a circle. Let me show you. 360 degrees in a circle, right? Let's take 3 plus 6. What does it give you? 9, okay. We should go to the slide where I get into this, right? Okay, let's take 180 degrees in a circle. 1 plus 8 equals 9, and plus a 0, we don't even need to do that. Anything plus 0 is the same. 90 degrees, well, that's easy. 9 plus 0 equals 9. 45 degrees, which is another division. 4 plus 5 equals 9. Absolutely incredible. Any division of a circle is always going to add up to 9, and therein lies your clue, right? Now, you'll notice certain numbers being used over and over and over again in many mythologies, such as the 144,000 in Revelation. That gets mentioned, I believe it does get mentioned more than once. Take that number, 144. It appears in a lot of mythologies all over the world. Well, 4 plus 4 is 8, plus 1 is 9. There's your clue. What about 666, the mark of the beast? Well, 6 plus 6 is 12, plus another 6 is 18. 1 plus 8 equals 9. The divisions of a circle always equal 9. Now, whenever you see numbers adding up to 9 in mythology, it's a clue they are talking about the seasons and the progression of time. Why the progression of time? Well, you see, 9 relates to a circle, and circles have to do with time. Look, when we are measuring day, that's how long it takes for the Earth to rotate, turn around, or the sun to go around the Earth. From a perspective point of view, the sun looks like it's going around in a circle around the Earth, or the sun is, or basically the Earth is turning relative to the sun. the moon cycles, the moon is going around the earth, and basically the earth goes around the sun, and we get the seasons and the years. Now you can get why it's all measured in 360. Except our year is 365, right? We have those extra 5 days. And but generally they try to get it to fit into a circle. It doesn't fit exactly, but they try to roughly get it to fit. So then we get into whole things like why we have leap years and all that sort of jazz, right? So going back to the story, all the angles on the cube will give you the diameter of the moon, okay? All the angles on the cube add up to 2160. Let's look at this number. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 plus 6 is 9, okay? Divisions of basically a circle type pattern, all right? Well, 360 we know adds up to 9, okay? And 9 multiplied by anything is 9. 9 divided by anything is 9. Now, by the way, any shape, that's equal is basically going to give you 9. For example, equilateral triangle, all angles add up to 9. Square, all angles add up to 9. Cube, all angles add up to 9. And basically, perfect three-dimensional triangle, all angles will add up to 9. Okay, but let's take, so the cube gives us 2160. What happens if we half the cube? Well, we get a very important number, and this is actually where I'm going to branch off into. 2160 divided by 2, okay, which is going to give us half of 2160, gives us 1080. 1080 represents the moon in many mythologies, and in courses and things I go into more detail. Now I'm just going to give you the the summary, but on another slide I show you the radius of the moon here, and it's pretty close to basically that 108. It is 1079. 79. What happens if you add 1, just 1 to it? Well, 1079 plus 1 is 1080, right? So the moon could be 108. 108 adds 9. That's actually the pure form, what it's supposed to be. But nothing is really perfect in nature. You never get 5 centimeters exactly in nature. Everything is a little bit off. So the moon is 1079. I'll show you what's also amazing about this. So, something I do love exploring is mythologies, stories, legends all over the world, what we call mythology. And one branch is alchemy, and alchemy was the study of, well, elements and changing elements from one form to another, but also it was believed that the soul could be changed from one point to another. But alchemy would later on evolve and develop to become modern chemistry. A lot of the things from chemistry came from alchemy. And alchemy came from Hermetics, and it goes all the way back to Egypt. In fact, the saying, all roads lead to Rome? I'm finding all roads seem to lead to Egypt, or all roads seem to lead to the pyramids. But anyways, what is the moon in alchemy? The traditional astrological glyph for the moon, the crescent, is one of the alchemical symbols of silver. And you can look at traditions all over the world. You can look at Wicca and witchcraft. It's always silver. Silver always represents the moon. Well, there's a lot of metals on the moon. I mean, you say, what is the moon made of? You'll find it's made of a lot of metallic substances. That's why it reflects so much of the sun, right? You have things like titanium, but basically what I want to show you is the element of silver. So remember, silver represents the moon. What is the number for silver on the periodic table, right? I'm going to click in or actually I should say the atomic weight of silver. The atomic weight is 107.8. Let's go back over here. The moon's radius is 1079, right? If it was one less, basically it would be the same atomic weight. They are very similar, and this is very interesting. So let's look at this. First, I want to just look at the radius of the moon in miles, just to show you, like, let's say radius of the moon in miles. Okay. What do we have over here? 107, sorry, 1079. And here we have 107.8. To show you just how similar that is, let's take 107.86 of the atomic weight of silver, and I'm going to divide it by the actual radius of the moon to see the accuracy, how accurate this is. So the element of silver, and we're going to divide it by the radius of the moon. All right. I should put the decimal in the same place, basically, because we're looking at the number sequence, not the actual decimal spot. And then you multiply by 100 to get the percentage accuracy. We have 99.9% accuracy, basically. There are some interesting links. Not only have we found all the angles of the cube will give you the diameter of the moon with a 99.96% accuracy, but also the moon's radius is basically the atomic element of silver, and in alchemy, moon was represented by silver, and the moon has a lot of metals. And if you think that's where the story ends with the moon and ancient cultures, it's only the beginning. It is basically the tip of the iceberg, right? But I also want to show you in this slide over here, you take the miles, the average miles from the sun to the earth, right? And you take that number, you divide it by the diameter of the sun, multiplied by 10. Hey, it happens to give you the radius of the moon. Just quite strange. So let's go test that stuff out, right? All right, and it gives it to you with a 99.54% accuracy. Let's go work this out. Firstly, let's go prove that the distance, let's have a critical mind, and let's actually prove that I am telling the truth, that distance from the sun to earth is actually 93 million miles. So let's go distance from the sun to earth in miles. You can see I've searched it before. Let's click over there. All right, that's in kilometers. However, if I read down, as noted earlier, the Earth's average distance to the sun is about 93 million miles. So that is correct. Now I'm going to take that 93, now that we've proven it is correct. I take it, I'm going to put it into my calculator, 93 million miles, and I'm going to divide it by the diameter of the sun. So next thing to fetch, let's go fetch the diameter of the sun. All right. Sun. All right, so diameter of the sun in miles, I should say. Okay. Diameter of the sun, 865,370 in miles. So let's actually divide that by 865,370. And what we have is 107. Interesting, 107, pretty close to the moon, but we must multiply it by 10. You'll find all these calculations will always multiply by 10 or divide by 10. So we take this answer, multiply it by 10, and we get basically 1074.68, and the moon is 1079, right? 0.6. And if you do the calculation, it's a 99.54% accuracy, right? In order for us to find out how accurate it is, we take this number or this answer. So this is our answer. This is our calculation, and we divide it by the actual answer that we're looking for, basically the actual radius of the moon. So I'll put m here for moon, right? We're going to turn this into a fraction, and we're going to see how accurate it was in terms of a percentage. So we're actually going to take that number and we're going to put the radius of the moon underneath, right? And we're going to work out how on point it was. So I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm going to divide it by 1079.6, and I'm going to hit the equal sign. Now we need to multiply this by 100 to turn this into a percentage, because a percentage is out of 100. This is just giving you how accurate it is out of 1, right? 1 being 100%. I'm just going to multiply it by 100, and it is 99.54% accurate. Okay, so for some reason, distance from the sun to the earth divided by the diameter of the sun for some reason gives you the moon. And for some reason, the moon is silver on the atomic table, which was also in silver was also the moon in alchemy and traditions all over the world. And 108 adds up to 9, funny enough, right? Cool. And next thing, so I'm going to show you something else as well. Let me just press pause so I can open it. Right, so we also went through how basically in the previous class, we go radius of the sun. It's in miles, it's important. Radius of the sun, 432, right? You take that radius and you multiply it, you know, by the perimeter of the pyramid, you get the circumference of the earth, basically, if you also multiply by 10. There's all these weird links. It starts off with 432, right? Well, where does 432 appear? 432 is basically used in music. If I say 432 hertz, it was the old tuning system to music. And in a lot of traditions around the planet, there's the Om, okay, and Om frequency. Om was the sound that was at the beginning of creation that all things came from, and it was 432 hertz. All right, and something we don't have time for in this short video. However, I do recommend you look at all the times 108 appears in mythology, because it is quite a lot. And here are a few examples. For example, the attendants of Shiva are 108, and hence, all right, and then we have 108 beds for prayers and meditation. You know, then Lord Krishna and sorry if I'm butchering pronunciation, Brindavan had 108 followers, okay? And in Buddhism, for example, according to basically this number is reached by multiplying the senses, smell, touch, taste, hearing, sight, and consciousness by whether they are painful, pleasant, or neutral, and then again by whether these are internally generated, or externally occurring, and past, present, or future. And finally, you get, when you add all that together, is 108. Basically, 6 being the 6 senses, smell, touch, taste, hearing, sight, and consciousness they include as a sense, which is interesting. The ancient Egyptians included thought as one of the senses, which is kind of similar, kind of not. And then basically the 3, right, is it painful, pleasant, or neutral, right? And then it goes on internal or external, that's dual 2, and then past, present, or future, and they get the 108. So 108 basically, you know, it's in Jainism, it's in stories all over the planet. And whenever you are looking at these numbers that add up to 9, you know there is some sort of astrological, astronomical, calendar-based connection to such stories. So yeah, that's basically it. And anyways, wrapping this all up, you know, if you found this interesting, every Saturday, I'm going to be talking on this topic, just speaking about, you know, every Saturday from this point, I'm going to be speaking about, you know, stories from all over the planet and the maths that are in them, and, you know, what we can learn from them. Basically the same sort of stuff I've gone through in this video. So if you'd like to join, you know, that Zoom meeting, be sure to fill in the form over here. And also, you can go onto this link. The password is a capital A and sit in for that. And that's a free webinar where I go over some of these things. I'm also going to be teaching a course on maths. I'm an online teacher. I teach music production, how to design graphics and visuals, using geometrical software and teaching geometry and maths through, three-dimensional design. And one of my courses is a maths course that turns learning maths into a fun Dungeon and Dragons type game where you are trapped in the underworld and you have to find your way out. And the game is based off mythologies and stories and legends from all over the planet. So you're stuck in the underworld. You have to pass your way through all the riddles and tricks into the Hall of Judgment and get the scales of ma'at, which ma'at actually is where we have our modern word maths. It actually originates to ma'at in etymology. You have to go to the scales of ma'at and get them to balance to get out alive safely. And the story is based off, as I say, ancient Egyptian mythology. There's many versions of Egyptian myth, but in one of them, the sun gets swallowed by a serpent and goes into the underworld, and it has to find its way out. The sun, being the soul, S-O-L or S-O-U-L. And then, you see this guy who's about to enter the cave. He needs to go in there. The light is very bright because it's just engulfed the sun. You need to go in there and try to get the sun out and resurrect it from the dead.